And welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you, getting into the final numbers of the month of June 2025 budget. So that is where we are today. I have a hot mess here of stickers and we are going to close out the budget. The way I close out my budget is by closing out my week 5 of the weekly check-in here. Either 4 or 5, depending on how many weeks are in the month that I have. And we're going to close out week 5, and then we're going to close out paycheck 2, and that is going to give me the final number of how much money is left over in the month of June, and if there's anything going into the month of July. So that is what we're doing today. Today is June 30th. I hope to get this video up tonight for you guys and have it all ready, set for the end of the month. So that is where we're at today. My first of the month actually starts on the 30th of the previous month because that's the first day my husband gets paid, and in the new paycheck period and going into the first of the next month. So I always try to close it on the 29th, 30th of every month. Now, this month has been busy and crazy and a lot of spending. I had a lot of debt on my credit card. I had a lot of things happening. So you're going to see, if you didn't already notice, what we're doing here and how we're taking care of the credit card. You see a lot of yellow, which is unbudgeted or debt, and that is what is represented here. And we're going to go through all the numbers. I hadn't paid it off just yet, but now we're ready to do so. So that's what you're going to see here. I only had 2 transactions that weren't debt that were spending that I did pay for, and I do want to track, which was a restaurant category for $49.35. These arrows mean it happened on Friday, not Saturday, so I had no spend Saturday. And Marathon gas, my husband had an appointment on Friday, and that he needed to fill up his Jeep for to drive there and drive back because I'm not driving him to these appointments anymore. And that was $43.58. So those are the first 2 things that I need to kind of finish up as far as the budget and what happened in my specific categories and what I needed to pay back the credit card. So this total here, I'm just going to total these 2 numbers up real quick, $49.35 and $58, and that became $92.93. So that is what was paid to the credit card. I did take care of that, and we're good to go there. So I can check those off. Now I want to go back and check off all these yellow unbudgeted things. Some of them I did, I didn't mean to, like right here, but that's okay. We're going to go through the unbudgeted and just talk about what happened and why, and what gave us the mindset of having to change our debt strategy and where the money came from. So I was in a lot of pain. And I needed to go back to my chiropractor because the only way I can find relief from this specific pain, and I hadn't seen him in a year, so what we were doing before definitely worked. I probably should have seen him at least twice a month, every month after it started working, but it was a year and we were on very tight, even less money than what we have right now, budget for the previous year. So I really didn't have room in the budget sheet to actually go see him. Going once a week now is fine. I started out twice a week, and then I went down to once a week. And I actually skipped a week, and I'm like, oh, it's too far. It hurts. I need to go back. So I haven't gone back. I go back Wednesday, which is the 2nd of July. So that will be my first round for the next month. Most of these one-offs are definitely Dr. Odell Chiropractic. That's who I go see. This was the initial assessment and signing up for the membership that gives me a cheaper rate for the entire year. And so I'm going to check that off. That was $119 back on the 28th of May, $45 here. And that's how much it is a visit. It's usually more than that, but with the membership, I got something cheaper. Dr. Odell here, which was another $45, another $45, and another $45. And that was the last time I went twice a week. So I only did it for 2 weeks. And then, did I do that? Yeah. There. So the next thing, and I actually forgot to put this and total it with the actual unbudgeted for my weekly check-in, we had to go to Menards and we went and got a dehumidifier, and it was for our basement. Our HVAC system is in the basement, and because it's in the basement, there is some humidity, and we have a 5-gallon bucket down there, and we only fill up maybe halfway within a 24-hour period of water. That's how much humidity is being pulled out of the air in the basement, and we need to do some fixes down there, but that's just going to have to wait because we don't have any extra money. We have no extra savings. We have nothing. And we just had to do something because it was interfering with the fan and the sensitivity of our new HVAC system, which we bought like earlier this year and still owed a lot of money on the credit card for that. And so we bought this as kind of a band-aid until we can get the basement remodel. That was $220.45. It's a really nice one, very durable, and we really like it. The next thing we have is Dr. Odell again for $45. And then we had my father-in-law come in town. I talked about this, I think on week 3, maybe week 4, whatever week I talked about it. And that was $69.49, and then Marathon for $60.13. I put it under unbudgeted. Again, we didn't plan for it. He did come into town. When he does, we buy his meals, we gas up our vehicle and take him wherever he wants to go. His sister lives 35-40 minutes from our house, so we always take him over there to visit with her. There's no reason not to, and we love visiting her and her husband. It was his birthday weekend. It was just a thing. It was awesome, though. We had a great time. Then by the time he went back, starting this weekend, the air conditioning fan on our vehicle went out, and the blower stopped blowing, and there was no AC going. Now, that charge didn't happen until the 27th, but before that, on this day, Monday, my stove just pretty much kaputs on me. One burner had already fritzed out on me and was only cooking on high, and then it looked like the element in the oven, which I probably could have got easy fixes, but I just did not feel safe with the appliance. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather buy a whole new appliance than try to keep fixing and band-aiding this one that I don't like in the first place. We went ahead and decided to buy a whole new one. Is it right? Is it wrong? It doesn't matter. It's what we did. There is no right or wrong. It's what's important to you and your family and how you make decisions on what's best for you. So in our opinion, many times when something like this happens, we don't take a risk. This is how we lower the risk of the problem that's at hand. Now, are we going to continue to repair the Armada and anything that comes up on that? Yeah, we're going to do that. But when it comes to appliance like this and it's in the home, I just didn't want it to catch on fire. I didn't want to have any other complications. There's certain features it did have that I didn't like, and I wanted something different, and I didn't realize it. So there's a lot of things that was discussed here. We took the opportunity to buy a new one. Now, this was not the price of the unit. This was for the oven. This was price of the oven, the delivery, the removal or disposal, and all the different things. And then we had to get a power cord for it. So that was Menards, and then next day was Menards. So that is all of the spending that we paid on the credit card. We made one large major payment to the credit card. The only thing left that we have not paid is this one right here, Gates Nissan. That's where our dealership is, or what our dealership's called, and we have $1,038.50 on the credit card going into the month of July. So I'm just going to put an X here. I'm just going to know what that is, and it will be on my July credit card spending tracker. This is my June one. It ended here, and then I needed, and I forgot to write this out, which is that. I know that's what's going onto the credit card for the next statement. That's the only thing left on there. And I was so happy when we did make all those large payments to the credit card this past month. Oh, that's not what I wanted to put down there. I noticed that there was no interest charge this month. So what I budgeted for interest went back to the budget, and I didn't have to pay interest this month, and I was so grateful. And it just felt so good not have to make that interest payment. I'll highlight that later. And it was the very last line that I had because my sinking funds were on the back. Wow. Okay, so moving on. I'm just going to X that out, acknowledging that it's there, but knowing that's on the credit card spending tracker, and that's my beginning balance for July. I don't typically show that, but that's what we have there. Let's go ahead and total all of these numbers, and this is what we actually paid as far as unbudgeted, and we'll have that number totaled for the Paycheck 2 closeout. All right, in total for the month of June, we added on top of the $8,000 whatever we had for credit card debt at the end of April and the beginning of, not April, at the end of May, and the beginning of June was $1,725.77. Now that's a lot that we had to pay, but we did pay it. And this is what's left on the credit card. So these are the numbers we needed to know to move forward. So now that we have that, I can go to my weekly check-in. And this is how everything gets closed out. I will do just the monthly budget alone, the monthly page, in an 8-minute monthly budget closeout with all the total numbers needed, and then close it out there as well. And as you can see, we had $75 left over in grocery household. We actually were over budget across the board pretty much, and we included more eating out to the budget. So let's get those numbers set together. $98.92 plus the $49.35 for the pizza night with the whole family, and that gave us a negative $148.27. And we did not add to miscellaneous, which was good, $161.62, but we did go negative in gasoline because I wasn't expecting my husband to fill up his Jeep, but that's okay. We're going to start paying more attention to that. And we had a lot more driving than we normally did because I think we went to Aunt Kathy's house like every day, like let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, for 4 days straight we went back and forth, and that's a lot of gas for my vehicle. We're negative $31.57 for gasoline. I did have copay left over, and that was $57.76. And there's that $1,725.77. That was not planned, but I do want to go through the first 5 and see. Oh no, I'm not even going to bother. I don't even know how far over budget we were, but you can tell with the 75 and 43 plus the 57.76. That's nowhere near to cover, like it didn't even cover all the restaurants. So we were way over budget if you combined our categories all together for the month, but with the transfer of funds from our high yield savings account to our checking account, which is how we paid for everything, that's where we got the wiggle room, an extra way of paying for some things that we just didn't really have the money for, and we did anyway. So that's what we're going to look at next. But this just shows you how over budget we were for this month. I'm just going to put check marks. That indicates that I've paid what we have paid for all these spending categories. So finally got to pay all of that. Now we're going to Paycheck 2 and close it out. And this will close out my budget for the entire month. Now, we knew it was going to be tight because I was showing negative $10 here. But we just had to go with the flow with the month. I do have an adjustment of 28 cents. When I did it off camera, I realized there was a 28-cent difference, and I thought, compared to my bank account, this actually represents my checking account, and because it represents the checking account, it has to match it. and I always make sure it matches. Well, it wasn't matching, it was off by 28 cents. So wherever my mistake is, or whatever I did before this point, I am not going to chase that down for 28 cents. I'm just going to write the word adjustment. I'm going to know I was off somewhere and then write the 28 cents and take it out. We do have cash left over, and we are actually balancing cash left over, and it's what's left over of the savings that we had transferred over, which I have indicated right here, and that is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get the total for the actuals for our income. All right, we pulled over $10,000 in total from our high yield savings. It was one large amount and it covered pretty much everything, and we were happy with that. So that was a total of $12,607.97. Now, obviously, $10,000 of that is not income. It's just savings that we put in the income column. So it wasn't additional income. It was money that we already had put aside, and then we just transferred and put it in here to cover everything. And this was to cover not just what was here for our bills and expenses, but to pay off or pay down the credit card almost to nothing. I wish I could have got it all the way down to nothing. If I had known I was going to need another 1,000 or more, I probably would have got 1,100 or whatever I needed to the penny, but I didn't, and I don't want to keep moving money back and forth. So I am going to have to come up with a plan to do that, and we'll see what happens next month. Now I'm going to go ahead and total up the actual column for the expenses, and then the actual column for the expense variable expenses over here. And I will be right back. All right, as you can see here, my actual column is much larger than what I originally came up with. As you can see, I made a debt payment. I originally was just going to put $100 and just chip away at this before I decided to move this $10,000. Well, $8,134 of it, $40.49 of it is actually the debt that was on the credit card, and that's what I paid down, except for that part that had to do with getting the car fixed. So that wiped out everything on the credit card except that amount, and I had zero interest on the credit card, praise God. And I'm going to go ahead and write this number down, $9,319.81. Okay, for the variable spending, I need to go back and get the numbers for what happened in week 3, 4, and 5 of the budget and total those numbers up. I'm going to go ahead and I've got the numbers written off camera, but I'll just show you what that would look like. So if we totaled up 300, what we spent in week 3, $353.31, plus the $417.90, and that's zero. So this $771.21, that is the total of grocery household that we spent for paycheck 2 of the budget. So that's what I'm going to start doing here, is writing all these numbers down, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and get the total for this column, and we'll get the actual for this and find out the actual for the end of the month here. All right, I'm looking at $3,161.20. And that is how much was spent in our variable expenses, unbudgeted, all the things. And that was a lot. I try not to do a lot of unbudgeted, but just everything kind of happened all at once, and it snowballed over the past 6 months. And I was like, I got it. The weight of carrying just that amount of debt on my credit card, I only have the one, it is tremendous. just absolutely tremendous. And then when I really had to start paying interest again, that was a gut punch. I didn't like that at all. And so I'm really working hard to try not to do that again. And we should be good going forward. The credit card's not really worth it. I mean, I may not change up my system where I put everything on and pay it off, but it really was not worth it. So savings is the name of the game. The more you can put into savings, the better you can secure your future. I think that is the best strategy, and that's just my personal feeling at this moment in time. So we're going to go ahead and look at this, and we have $12,607.97 minus the $9,319.81 and minus the $3,161.20. Now we still have $126.96 left over out of the $10,000 that we moved from the savings into the checking account to cover the debt and all the expenses for paycheck 2. And that closes out the budget for this month of June. It has been crazy, and I'm so glad it's done. I don't like rushing the summer along, but just the weight of what we were feeling with this is it's just too much. You just don't realize how much it causes anxiety and pain in your body carrying that weight. It's amazing how the mind and the body works together. So that is paycheck 2. We are closed out for the month, and July is set up. Go check out the monthly video if you have not seen the July monthly video. That's an overview of all the income that's coming in and all the expenses that are going out that I am planning for. And then tomorrow, paycheck 1 should be up. If haven't already seen the monthly budget, you can watch that one. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
I never thought in the wildest dream I'd see you again. Never dreamed about nothing else other than you. I always thought I'd be waiting